Hey everyone, it's me. I wanted to talk about something I thought about and discovered today, which may have been a certain breakthrough for me and may help someone else who may face this in the future. This has to do with getting a divorce, custody, and I'll call this video There's No Room at My Inn or in my inn. I don't know, and there's no room in the inn in general. Um, Not necessarily equating this to the story of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, but uh, since it's the holiday, why not? I remember as a child, my parents didn't really fight. There was no, we didn't see any conflict. We didn't see a lot of touchy feely or things like that. It kind of a hands-off marriage. We all talk together as a family, but I don't remember my parents being really affectionate towards one another. That's just maybe the way some parents were back then. And so I remember when my parents got divorced, it was out of the blue. My mom just kind of announced she was going to talk to a lawyer, and after that my dad moved in with my grandma, and uh, he had, she didn't have a large house, so we still saw her. She, had amazing grandmothers. And so we would go visit with her. We didn't stay overnight there. It was just, my dad saw us usually on the weekend. He'd take us out to eat. But when I was a teenager, I really wanted to go live with him, and I called him up and he said, "There's no room for you here." And I said, "Okay." And so I accepted my fate as a teenager and this and that, and went on with my life. And I still had a relationship with my dad and this and that. But I remember when I got divorced, my ex, he went to live with a friend who had I think he lived in an um, uh, upper duplex or something like that. But when I got divorced, he would see the kids only after school. I think they were 8 and 9 years old. So he'd come and stay with them after school and leave before I got there. So we wouldn't cross paths per se. But on the weekends, he didn't really have them for the first 8 months because he claimed he had no room for them. And after 8 months, I went to see the attorney and I said, I need him to be more involved than just babysitting after school or whatever it would be. He needs to keep them overnight. And so eventually I think he got one of those bunk beds where it was a full on the bottom, twin on the top, and so they would share the same room. At least they got to spend overnights with him. But initially it was, there is no room in my place and this and that, so there was also no room in the inn at his place either. Eventually, as we progressed, um, he'd see him every other weekend, but after we got divorced, he claimed he only had to see them the third weekend of the month per the divorce decree, and then it was only the third Saturday of the month because of his work schedule. So that's the way it went. So when I look back at my life as a child and how there was a disconnect after my parents' divorce, and my dad said there's no room, my ex ended up doing the same. So it ended up being mirrored throughout my life. And if, as a parent, you want your children and you want to spend time with them and be involved and a part of their lives, you find a way to do it. You find, whether it's another apartment, you get a 2-bedroom apartment, you end up buying another house, but where there's a will, there's a way. And I just want to say, if you look at how, to going back through all of my childhood and all of my traumas, I had never really had therapy. So I ended up marrying someone similar to my father. Now, I did love my father. He was my best friend, but should I have married someone like him? No, absolutely not. And I did, and I had children with him. But just how it went ended up being parallel to my own life and the final outcome. So if you're looking at getting a divorce and you had never really healed from childhood traumas, etc., realize you may have married someone, if you're a woman, you may have married a man just like similar to your father. And if you want to know the outcome of what may happen if you get a divorce and your parents got a divorce, you can see possibly what it may be like if you choose to get a divorce and you have children, how active your father or mother was after the divorce in your life may mirror how your spouse is going to be throughout the divorce. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. I thought about that today, how similar it was. And some people choose, they move out, they get another house, they get an apartment, so they can have either 50-50 custody, or there's a place for the kids to sleep on the weekends. I remember growing up, there was a woman that lived next door in a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't know how they made it work, but it was a woman, single parent with her daughter who we were friends with. And they were living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And what happened is the girl was there full time. The girl got the bedroom and the mom slept on the couch. The mom made it work. And I look back at that and I so honor and I have so much respect for that mom who made it work within her budget. She just the way it was. Mom never had a room. The daughter had her own room. And so that's just what they did. I mean, she wanted custody of her daughter. She had custody of her daughter. I don't ever remember seeing a dad around, and that was their norm back then. And this was in the 70s, 80s, etc. But parents that want to have custody of their children and can't be separated from them will make a way. It's just the way it is. So just want to talk about my experience in the situation and what you can look out for. And hopefully this helps someone else to be prepared, because when you have a spouse and you get divorced and that spouse doesn't take an interest in having even partial custody or overnights, etc., the one good thing is that I had more time with my daughters. And second, there was really no input from the peanut gallery as to how I was raising them. So that's the way my situation worked out. I hope this helps someone else. Don't be hurt. Because sometimes, even if you've maintained primary custody and you've had, they've been with you 98% of the time, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a relationship with them as they get older. They may gravitate towards the spouse, towards your ex, or the parent who wasn't as present. And that sometimes happens as well. But just want to talk about it. I hope this helps someone else, and I hope everyone is having a good day. Bye-bye.